Before we get to the topic of the day, let's go ahead and get those random four horsemen shout-outs out of the way. They go to Tammy Burton, Sigma, Kathy Clark, and Jonathan Lewis are wound up, sound up, and ready to go, and they're going to help us with today's college football invasion. If you want to be an outlaw posse like those guys and gals, it's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the outlaw, and you'll get your badge, get deputized, get that random four horseman shout, and possibly the comment of the day. Now, let's get to the show. Well. The more things change, the more they stay the same, right? That's the old adage, and it aptly applies to these comments made by one Thomas Castellanos, who was sort of irrelevant up to this point. And he, in some of his comments that he made about Alabama, has shown that he really doesn't know the history of college football. He's just one of those players that says, me run ball here, me catch ball, me pass ball there kind of deal. But let me go ahead and serve up a little reminder of what usually happens, not all the time, but most of the time, when someone gives Alabama added motivation. Check it out.
When you come to our house, we show you how to play some SEC ball. It don't matter where you're from. You're going to know what ball we play. Alabama, you're next.
Theoretically, we are next on their schedule.
1 week later.
And an impressive opening road victory for Alabama. 59-0.
Woo! 59-0. Now, granted, Florida State does have a little more history, a lot more history than Vanderbilt. But it ain't just Vanderbilt. It's happened a lot in the past. I'm not going to delve into every single person has talked that smack, but I'd say more times than not, I would gander a guess of about 80% of the time people decide to talk smack on Alabama. Alabama usually shuts them down, or at least beats them on the field. So I'm going to bring up a few comments made by this guy right now, and I'll let you guys and gals decide whether maybe he give Alabama a little more added motivation than maybe Florida State, their coaching staff, and the other players might have wished that he, I don't know, probably shut his mouth a little bit. Check it out. Castellanos left the Eagles in November of last season after getting benched. He's battled injuries. He simply wasn't a good fit in Bill O'Brien's system, yada, yada, yada. He rushed for 1,000 yards in 2023, only had 194 in 2024. Also, what they don't say on here is that he only passed for 1,800 yards in almost a full season. That number is probably good for half a season for most good to decent quarterbacks, not even great quarterbacks. It says here, Castellanos recently spoke with Pete Nakos of On 3 and had plenty to say about his time at Chestnut Hill and the way it ended. Sending a message to ACC and college football world about what he believes is to come now that he's a Seminole. That included quite the jab at Florida State's week one opponent, Alabama, who Castellanos offered up a quote that will probably undoubtedly get plenty of play in the lead-up. And Dope Campbell goes on to say, I'm excited. I don't know if they know, but you go back and watch every first game that I played in. We start fast. I always dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing at Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me. So let me go ahead and give you a little education in college football, young man, because you don't seem to know the history of college football very well, in my opinion. You see, Nick Saban never saved Alabama. Alabama was in a slump, granted, but if you know your history, Alabama has had numerous conference championships, numerous national championships, and they weren't all under Nick Saban. There's 5 head coaches with statues out on the campus of University of Alabama, and they're only granted statues for national championships. So that means 5 different men won national titles. 4 different men before Nick Saban had already won national titles, Tommy boy. So you need to do your history before you start running your mouth and just making yourself look quite stupid to those that do actually know college football better than me run here and me run there, because that's what you sound like. You sound like one of those caveman players that don't really have much education about the game other than touching the ball whenever you get the chance. But check this out. This is pretty telling in knowing that this guy doesn't even know his own stats. He's oblivious to what's actually going on around him. He's like the old monkey in the zoo playing in his poo. Thinks everybody's laughing with him when they're laughing at him. But check it out.
But here's how he did against ACC opponents last season. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, he threw for 100 yards against Florida State. Against Virginia, he did throw for 250 yards with 2 touchdowns, though he did have 2 interceptions. Oh, and that was a loss. Against Virginia Tech, they lost by 21. He did throw for 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. Then in a loss against Louisville, he completed under 50% of his passes for 160 yards, though he did have 3 passing touchdowns. Then against Syracuse, he completed 2 of 7 passes before he was benched and didn't appear in a game the remainder of the season. Now, Castellanos is right. He is going to have more talent around him at Florida State.
Yes, he will have more talent around him at Florida State, but didn't Boston College beat this same Florida State team last year with him? If Florida State has so much more talent than Boston College, like he's trying to say that they didn't have a great team around him, that it was basically Boston College and Bill O'Brien's fault. And Bill O'Brien has been known as one of the better offensive innovators in college football. So, yeah, don't really add up, and his numbers don't really add up. So let's backtrack to that statement that I'm referring to right now.
I'm excited, man. People, I don't know if they know, but you go back and watch every first game that I played in, we always start fast. I dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing against Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me. Yeah, I know Alabama isn't exactly the dominant threat that they were under Nick Saban, but I don't think they're going to have a problem stopping Castellanos. You know, the guy who just lost the starting quarterback job for Boston College. Now, I'm all for players talking smack and trying to be confident. I actually love it. I think it's great for college football, but usually that works if you're one of the better players in the entire country. And I'm not even sure if Thomas Castellanos is a top 10 quarterback in the ACC conference. I had to go back and look at the numbers because he said if you go back and watch every first game I played in, we always start fast. Well, in 2023, Boston College opened their season with an overtime loss against Northern Illinois. In that game, he completed only 13 of 28 passes for 140 yards. He did have 3 total touchdowns and had 70 yards on the ground, but they lost to North.
So, 140 yards. I said 114. So it was a little bit better than what I said, but still 140 yards. If you call that starting fast, brother, you're going to be in a lot of trouble against Alabama. But just like in the lead up with the video of the Vanderbilt player talking smack, what these players need to do and what these coaches need to tell these players and educate them on is, you know, before you start talking smack like this and saying just wild statements that are probably going to get the team fired up. Alabama's already got a lot of motivation anyway. They're coming off a 9-4 season, which by Alabama standards is not so great. So they got a little something to prove, and now they got a little more added motivation. That home field advantage that Florida State thought they had may not be such a big advantage after all with these kind of statements, saying that Nick Saban is not here to save Alabama. Like I said, brother, you need to do college football history because Alabama's been a power way longer than Nick Saban. Alabama probably made Nick Saban more successful than he would have been anywhere else. Now, if he'd stayed at LSU, he might have won 1 or 2 more national titles, but I doubt he would have won 6 at LSU. So it was a perfect storm for both Alabama and Nick Saban, but Nick Saban did not make Alabama. So y'all need to do your education, know the game of college football other than just me run here and me run there. So what this guy basically did was corner himself, which is not a good idea, especially with the kind of success he's had so far. I mean, he's dipped out on UCF, he's dipped out on Boston College, now he's at Florida State. And I don't know if he don't at least keep the game close with Alabama, he's going to be catching a lot of heat. There's going to be a lot of people making memes, a lot of people grilling the hell out of him on here like me because he didn't back it up. It ain't going to just be Alabama though. For the rest of the season, you know, he talked smack on his old team. Now, I'm not privy to Florida State's schedule right now, but I know they played Boston College last year. So if they play Boston College this year and Boston College for some reason beats them or even keeps the game close, then once again, he's going to be on the grill. He set himself up for failure. And like I said earlier in this podcast, these coaches like Mike Norvell need to get with these players and maybe give them a little education about how to handle interviews and press conferences in the future, especially with someone like Alabama. You're a 2-10 team trying to get your footing and get back on par with the rest of college football and be the once upon a time blue blood that you think you are. And this is not a good recipe to do it because now the element of surprise or upset that you might have had on Alabama, I think it's completely gone. And Alabama might not have covered the 12 before, but now I think they might just cover the 12 and then some. But that's all I got to say about that. If y'all don't mind, drop it in the comment section. Tell me what you think about all this. Did he smack talk a little too much, or is it not really that big of a deal? Drop it in the comment section. Let me know. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. It's all free. It's the big four, and they're all free. It just gets this party bigger and crunk. Also, if you want to join the Outlaw Posse, you do a little something extra. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. And you'll get your badge. You'll get deputized. You get that random 4 horseman shout as well as possibly the comment of the day. With that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now. Well, class may not be dismissed for Castellanos for quite some time.